Ha I am here again with another vidya. W intro. Listen, we got Goji Center. I've been subbed to old Goji for a hot minute, you know. So
Today, we wind back the clock
that's
tens
what
of
we
thousands
doing.
of years where humans
7
were less
predators
predator and more prey.
that
Our ancestors had it rough,
8
and there
humans.
were a lot of things that they had very good reason to be afraid of. On this episode of Goji Center, we find out who cut some branches short on the human family tree with 7
True. That movie was crazy, by the way. If y'all seen
Center.
Revenant,
We find out who cut some branches short on the human
this scene where the grizzly attacks him is insane.
family tree with 7 of the deadliest ancient
One of my
predators that
favorite
kept the
movies.
human population in check. Showcasing 7 simulations of each kill, some backed up by
Hell
the
yeah.
fossil record itself
That
and
short-faced
present-day
bear.
evidence. In the modern world, it's quite evident that humans are the indisputable masters of the planet. Even apex
True.
predators like lions would steer clear once they got a whiff of Homo sapien. Don't think
Yeah, the mountain lions here and the coyotes, you'll never see them anywhere near the resort part of the park. I mean, we have them; they are here, and there are plenty, but they just know they just steer clear. And the other animals, they're smart. The deer hang around, the bighorn sheep hang around. Um, Elk generally don't; they just roam. The bison come around every once in a while. Not that the bison have to worry about it anyway. Only if you're like super old or you're a young calf, you don't really have to worry about it because the bison here, they don't have any natural predators that can take them on when they're full grown. Um, other than that, I can't think of any other. The pronghorn don't really hang around us either. They just kind of keep moving all the time. But the deer and the bighorn sheep are the two biggest ones that hang around the resort 24/7 because they know there's going to be no predators that approach them here.
we are the apex species? You answer this question. Yes, you are sitting on a couch or bed, or car seat, whatever, comfortable watching this video.
What was
The
the
last
question?
thing you're worried about right now is getting ambushed by a big cat or getting crept up by a bunch of wild dogs. See,
True.
evidently the human race has established itself head and shoulders above the other animals thanks to technological breakthroughs, weaponry, population, and the nefarious effects of our own ecological footprint. So much that most other
True.
big animals know not to mess with humans. Most of the time. However, things were not always like this. Back when we were a lot fewer and a lot less armed, the playing field was more even, and the odds got tilted in the other direction sometimes. And one of the most unexpected threats was encountered in one of the last places ancient humans ever reached. When the first Aboriginal explorers arrived on the southern continent of Australia, they were arriving on the last continents where reptiles like land crocodiles and giant cousins of Komodo dragons still presided over the ecosystem.
True.
The most common and deadly apex predator to find these first Australians has one of the most innocuous looking relatives surviving today. Thylacoleo carnifex, the executioner pouched lion, is related to, of all things, this. No, seriously, show some respect to these fellas the next time you see them. They used to eat us.
Dude, they got nerfed hard, bro.
Far more common than the giant reptiles of its native continent, and sporting
That's a weird mix. So it's got like front like digging molars, which is crazy.
bladed teeth shaped like bolt cutters backed by a chomping force of 700 newtons. This killer koala could have been living in the same places these early settlers were. Cave art tens of thousands of years old depicting a hunter breaking their spear trying to fend off this murderous marsupial makes it very clear this was a species to be feared and
Damn.
absolutely caused fatalities. With 4 to 6 inch long thumb claws that left marks in stone and good adaptations for climbing, Thylacoleo might well have dropped down from the trees onto unsuspecting victims. We can already sense the sweat running down ARK players' foreheads. That's right, one of the most diabolical methods of getting murked in this game, and the cause of
Ark sucks, by the way. I hate Ark. I hate Ark so much, dude. I tried it. I played it for a little bit. I think I put like 20 hours into it, and I'm like, this is dog shit. I hate it so much.
Many near cardiac arrest instances in Ark Survival Evolved is getting killed by the Thylo. And this game actually did a decent job in portraying how this feels like, emotionally at least. Think you have it bad? Tell that to your ancestors, who had to deal with the physical damage as well. An unsuspecting human would get seized by the neck with the spinal cord either being snapped in between its atypical teeth, or those giant thumb claws would be put to use eviscerating and disemboweling a target soon after they hit the ground. The
True.
Americas were some of the last places any human stepped foot in, and for some, it might have been their last. There was a nasty surprise awaiting them when the first explorers reached the Americas over 25,000 years ago. One of the largest apex predators North America had seen
Short
since T
face bear.
Rex, and it had a big appetite. A fossil site
Yosh.
studied in 2011 suggested that Paleo Indian hunters stored some of their kills underwater to hide the smell of their food from this predator. The Arctodus, the apex of apex predators in
Never
Ice
mind.
Age North America, was everything terrifying about a grizzly bear and then multiplied. Some record shattering individuals could weigh over a ton and be as tall as to look into a 2-story window. Like modern grizzlies, these spectacled bears on steroids were what is called hypocarnivores, meaning they ate a lot of plants as well. This is the opposite of a hypercarnivore that is almost exclusively carnivorous. This might initially sound better, but there are two big snags to trying to coexist with such a thing. This means that even just trying to harvest berries and other wild crops in season carries the risk of a big bear going for the exact same food sources it will not be happy to share. A kleptoparasite, put simply, is an animal that steals food or resources from another animal. Arctodus was already used to bullying away and ambushing other predators to take over their kills. And with a sense of smell multiple times more keen than a bloodhound, you can make one guess as to which way it's going to start running after a Paleo Indian hunting party makes a kill. Now, imagine trying to sleep at night after a successful bison hunt, knowing a 1-ton bear is closing in without any walls to keep it out. Getting
True.
rushed and mauled by an irate bear is anything but subtle. A victim would be charged and knocked to the ground after a smack by the almost foot-wide paws tipped with 5-inch long claws. The impact alone guaranteed to break bones, but not kill every time. Bears rarely bite the throat like other predators. Instead, the victim is repeatedly stomped, clawed, and chomped across the body and chest. Softer tissues like the nose and ears might be torn off as the skin is flayed. A mercy would be if it decided to use the full force of its jaws to pop a human skull like a grape. Dogs are man's best friend. Tell that to one of your Eurasian ancestors, and they'd think you're an idiot. Back in the old world, things were
True.
not always the way things are today. We aren't talking about the dire wolves or North American gray wolves that did and still do largely avoid humans. The Eurasian gray wolves weren't any larger than their New World counterparts, but that didn't make them any less dangerous. Quite the opposite. Having hundreds of thousands of years to familiarize themselves with early species of humans like Homo erectus and Neanderthals, gray wolves hunted down a niche humans fit into perfectly. Whether alone or in a pack, canines dispatch targets in a grisly manner. Targeting softer areas, wolves bite down, thrash, and twist after sinking their teeth in. Bites to the areas with a lot of arteries like the joints and groin, and the blood vessels snapped and shredded. And
Oof.
chomps to the belly might involve disembowelment.
Yeah, that is one way I would not like to go out.
Ever hear the saying, you are what you eat? Scientists can look at the teeth and bones to determine what certain animals we're eating. So, for instance, if a prey animal eats certain types of plants, their remains have unique chemical signatures. So, the predators that eat these prey animals will have similar signatures to their prey because they take on the chemicals from the animals they consume.
That makes sense. Now that makes perfect sense.
One certain collection of animal bones found
It was crazy. I heard a story once of a guy who, what was it, a black bear that he shot and killed, and that bear had like been solely eating berries. So its entire like insides after he had shot and killed it, and then uh did the prep work. Its entire insides were stained with that blueberry purp or blueberry blue. because it had eaten the berries so much and so often that it had just kind of slowly, like, morphed its insides to a different color, which is insane.
along with their suspected hunter in South Africa, was initially seen as strong evidence of a natural predator of humans. Dinofelis, the terrible cat, was found associated with the human bones, and it was assumed this species of saber-tooth might well have been a natural predator for us. But there were many different types of saber-toothed slashers alive at the time, and isotopic evidence from the year 2000 later showed they got the wrong cat. This wasn't what was eating some of the humans. This was.
Oh, well, fuck.
Megantarion. These
It looks
teeth,
dope,
over
to
4
be
inches
fair.
long, would have been put to use to stab open the throats of big hooved animals after the prey was grabbed and slashed with the retractable 3-inch long hooked talons. But these cats were nothing but creative and adaptable when encountering humans. Holes punched into the skulls of prey animals, rival cats, and one ancient human from a fossil site in Europe show that sinking the big tooth into the brain case would get the job done quickly and effectively. Despite being a
True.
gnarly spectacle, the human victim would at least only endure a swift moment of pain. Water is essential to life, but today taking a sip from the riverside comes with a side of irony, given that in this source of life, death can also spring forth. Lurking under the surface are
True.
ambush predators that could wait for weeks between meals. As a 2010 study confirmed, hooved antelope to other predators like lions were on the menu. But also, numerous fossil teeth marks and crushed bones show that humans were not absent in this list. From the modern Nile crocodile, Crocodylus niloticus, to multiple prehistoric cousins, like the horned Crocodylus anthropophagus, whose species name even means man-eater, to the largest true crocodile ever, the nearly
Damn.
30-foot Goliath that was the largest true crocodile to ever live, Crocodylus thorbjarnarsoni. Bite marks on the legs and feet show these were the most targeted areas, meaning the unfortunate victim was probably grabbed in either drinking or getting water from the riverside. With a bite force measured in the thousands of newtons, over 62 teeth in their maws, bone can be shattered, and
Did you see how it snapped that fucking femur?
thousands of newtons, over
Is that a
62
femur?
teeth in their maws,
Oh, shit. God damn. One more time.
with a bite force measured in the thousands of newtons, over 62 teeth in their maws, bone can
Damn.
be shattered
That's
and
crazy.
muscles shredded with every bite. Modern Nile crocs are even known to work cooperatively to a degree, with multiple crocs grabbing onto different limbs and individually death rolling to draw and quarter the unfortunate target. A gigantic
Ooh,
Thorbjarnarsoni might have been big enough to just engulf a whole human and pulverize them in a single bite, or
that's crazy.
have been big enough to just engulf a whole human and
It's
pulverize them in a single bite, or
Beyblade. Oh,
swallow them whole. Crocodilian digestive acids are known to not even leave bone, and thus zero evidence. Who knows how many
that's
countless
crazy.
humans were snuffed from existence in the bellies of these beasts? Heading north, numerous caves and preserved dens across Eurasia often showed the same repeated patterns over
That looks dope. I would love to go in a place like that.
and over again. Piles of pulverized human and animal bones with null marks all over them. Homo sapiens and our brawnier Neanderthal cousins, young and old alike, torn apart alongside.
It's annoying having to try to explain to people that there are two species of human, but I am glad that there are channels like this that make a distinction between Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. They are not the same. They are two separate breeds of human. Okay? At the end of the day, we're fucking monkeys, right? We're all monkeys. However, some of us evolved differently depending on the environment that we were in. So Homo sapiens were much more cardio driven, a bit smaller, a bit more agile, if you will. Whereas Neanderthals were a lot bigger. They were a bit thicker because they lived in typically cold weather environments. So that would be like your Vikings, your Europeans in general. And then as far as like your Homo sapiens, you have your Africans, your Asians, your people of the eastern side of the world for the most part. Um, but yeah, those are like the two main species of human, and I think it's interesting.
Side big game like elk and bison. Telltale indents of
One of the few things that I learned um over the years that's been like school really taught me nothing. And I went to college. That's the sad part. I went to college and trade school. And well, trade school was helpful, but college did fuck all for me. Mm.
the fang marks punched right into the bone show the culprit to be cave hyenas.
What the
Present day
fuck?
spotted hyenas might be an enigmatic sight in the African.
This I have never heard of. That one cat earlier with the fucking two like huge fucking front teeth on the top and bottom. I never heard of that either.
In Serengeti, but the species once ranged far and wide across
I'm fucking sorry.
Eurasia. Led by a matriarch, a group of hyenas called a clan hunt in groups that can be a few to a few dozen individuals. Prey is swarmed all at once from multiple angles, and unlike wolves, these spotted predators are not picky about where they bite, and often chomped right into the bone. With a chomping force of 900 newtons on their huge slicing molars, limb bones might be broken and fingers or toes amputated with just a few bites if the prey isn't disemboweled alive.
I was gonna say they have one of the greatest bite forces that you can get.
In the words of Dr. Grant, you are alive when they start to eat you. Up next, a stealthy assassin that has been preying on apes for millions of years. In the depths of a South African cave, scientists uncovered the remains of almost 100 human specimens across multiple species. Many showing signs of broken skulls were once thought to be evidence of ancient warfare between prehistoric humans. Some scientists even speculated warfare was what drove human evolution. Our bipedal stance to better
Uh, um, I think that was like a well documented thing that there was a war between Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, and that's how we got pretty much everybody who's alive today is a mix of both Homo sapien and Neanderthal, some more than others.
wield weapons and a sharp mind to put sharp tools to
Actually, you know what? I got my DNA fucking shit here. Where did it go? Right here. I'm pretty sure the last time I looked at my genetics report because uh they do continue to update the genetics report as they find more accurate things. Hold on, let me see. Uh, where do I find that again? The physical features? I don't remember. Remember, brr, 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 brr. Here it is. So, based on the data, I have 40% more Neanderthal DNA than anybody else that they have currently on file. I have over 230 variants that can be traced to Neanderthals, which is fucking crazy. So yeah, your boy do be a Neanderthal out here. That's so sick. That's so sick.
work against each other. Called the killer ape hypothesis, this discarded theory, ironically enough, would wind up killing itself when these supposed murder victims turned out to be covered in teeth marks from a creature they were probably terrified of.
True.
This wasn't a trophy room with victims of war. It was a dining table of something's leftovers. Unlike the rest of the predators on this list, which largely just targeted humans on occasion, the killer here was arguably the closest things humans have ever had to a natural predator: leopards. Despite being one of the
True.
smallest panthers, leopards have been
Leopards are fucking OP. Like, I've seen them motherfuckers carry entire corpses up trees for fun.
primate predators for
Is that a leopard? Or is that a jaguar? One of the two.
millions of years. So much that pressure from their predation might have helped motivate apes to have better cooperative skills to survive. After all, some of the earliest human fossils from over 6 million years back show clear signs of getting ganked by these spotted stealth hunters. So,
Damn.
why is it that the leopard, of all things, posed such a huge threat? A 100 to 200 pound cat with a bite force of only 600 newtons across the jaw doesn't seem much compared to other predators. The answer is actually quite simple. Leopards like to eat two things: deer-sized prey and primates. And we just so happen to be deer-sized primates, the worst kind of
Fair.
Venn diagram. An
Fair.
isotropic study further proved that leopards were actually the culprits behind a lot of primate and human killing.
Also, hold on. Just glazed over, Sat. Hold on a
The
second.
answer is
This, if you live in an environment where you have predators, there is no excuse for a dog to be outside of your house without supervision. Okay? Nothing pisses me off more than seeing a video. I'll be scrolling fucking TikTok or Facebook Reels or some shit or YouTube Shorts, and I'll come across a video where somebody left their dog out, leopard or a wolf or something comes by and just absolutely kills their dog and then drags it off. What the holy fuck? What is wrong with you? It is so easy to take care of a dog. It's so easy. Okay? Don't believe me? I got one behind me. I've trained many. Trained many. I've worked with several animals. Okay? So I got good experience working with wildlife. And one of those things that really ticks me off is when I see shit like this where you clearly know you're in an environment where these types of predators do exist, and maybe you think the chances are slim to none. Maybe you think you'll win the lottery before you find one of these fucking things in your backyard. But that doesn't mean that there's a 0.000% chance. Even if it's 0.001, you should be 100% being out there with your animal. And I would even go so far as to, if you're leaving home, then put some sort of like wolf collar on your dog. That way, in the case that your dog does somehow get outside and you are not home to defend your dog or ward off any sort of unwanted attention, then it at least has some sort of way. Because here's the deal with predators, right? Majority of the time, they're gonna go vitals first, always. Wolves can be a little bit different, but for the most part, wolves generally also target the neck immediately because these are wild predators here. I mean, your dog is technically a carnivore, but it gets its nutrition supplementary through dog food, and some people do still give their dogs like proper meats and stuff, which is W to those people. But at the end of the day, the thing with this situation is it should have never came about. And the thing with predators as well is that uh, the more difficult the fight, the less likely the predator is to commit to killing your animal. Okay? So if he has a fucking wolf collar on, that fucking panther or that fucking whatever this is, uh, tries to bite down on the neck, gets jabbed by those fucking metal spines and has to release, then that gives your dog a 10 times higher fighting chance to not die in this situation and be able to use its own jaws, clamp down on the fucking leopard or clamp down on the fucking wolf or whatever it is, right? Because most people keep their dogs as nails like prim and proper, so those are pretty much useless at this point. Because they won't rough up shit, and dogs don't have the proper strength to do some sort of like a paw strike, like for instance a bear would. Without the motor skills and the muscle to put behind that, it essentially does nothing. So your dog essentially ends up in this situation where it ends up grappling with this fucking thing, and its only way out is if it can't capitalize and it has to come back to a neutral base. That gives your dog a chance to then flip back. And this dog's also like somewhat overweight as well, so it's like at a doubly disadvantage now. Yeah, it's just overall bad situation, and it shouldn't never came about. But I'll always be that person in the comments. Fucking, generally speaking, I don't comment on people's shit, but like when I see a video like this, I'm like, you're a piece of shit.
Actually, quite simple. Leopards like to eat two things: deer sized prey and primates. And we just so happen to be deer sized primates, the worst kind of Venn diagram. An isotropic study further proved that leopards were actually the culprits behind a lot of primate and human killings. So, how would these kill? Let's find out. Victims are usually tackled from an ambush and its full scale attack from all angles, with the claws slashing open the groin, belly, or arms as bites are aimed at the face. Quick kills have their throats torn out. Other attacks might involve splitting the skull and biting right into the brain case. Two fangs would be more than double the bite force, and plenty of fossils show them getting creative with that bite. Conflicts with leopards still happen today.
Yeah, you have to. When it comes to like if you're taking on a monkey, especially like a chimpanzee or something, them motherfuckers will rip you in half because they're that stupidly strong. So the last thing you want is to get caught in their arms. So if you're like a leopard or something and you're hunting a primate, yeah, you definitely want to go for an insta death fucking, or at least absolutely severe vital that prevents them from using their full strength. That's like the only way that I would also see a leopard being effective.
Often from human encroachment into panther habitat. But count your blessings that today most big cats avoid humans. Some of your ancestors thousands of years ago had a very good reason to be afraid of nightfall, with the possibility of never waking up again. Next time you wake up and start whining about having to get up early at 6 a.m. for work or early class, be happy that the problem of the day isn't getting eaten by a giant cat.
True. Awesome. W video. I love these videos, man. Make sure you guys let me know. Like, subscribe, comment. Make sure you go to Goji Center, like, subscribe, comment on their video, and show them some love. I love their channel. I've been subscribed to them for I don't know how long at this point, but I'm so ready. It's like my favorite thing to do is just like keep my eyes on the channel. Like anytime I hear that there's an update to the MonsterVerse stuff, especially, I know Goji Center is gonna start popping off. So I'm just like, oh shit, here we go again. But that's gonna do it for this video. I am gonna go make me some burgers because I am now hungry. Peace.